Hot girls like to read, so pick up the damn book, sis, and join our Hot Girls Book Club. Welcome to my channel. My name's Missy. I mainly read Romantasy, and here on my channel I do Romantasy reading vlogs, TBRs, book recommendations for fantasy and Romantasy readers. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at my Kindle Unlimited TBR and looking at whether Kindle Unlimited is worth it. Only be Romantasy reads because I mainly read Romantasy. Jesus, take a shot every time I say Romantasy. I filmed a few reading vlogs, but I thought today I'd sit down and film a Kindle Unlimited TBR video. So I'm going to be looking into whether Kindle Unlimited is worth it for Romantasy readers. Is it worth the price? Can you get good books? And basically just what's on my TBR for Kindle Unlimited. And then I'm going to, at the end, because I have read a few on Kindle Unlimited, I'm going to go through the ones I've read and recommend some to you. So yeah, if you're thinking about joining Kindle Unlimited, then maybe give this video a watch if you're a Romantasy reader. I've got a drink, so sit down and get a drink. This is so weak. Coffee, like, I made it so bad today. Kindle Unlimited is a subscription service where you pay, like, I think it's £9 a month, and you get a range of books, basically like an online library that you can buy for free if we do girl math, but you're paying for the subscription. Not all books are included in Kindle Unlimited. There is like a selection, and you can take out 15 books a month to read on Kindle Unlimited. They do have free trials, and they always have like deals on, so make sure you look out for that. These are books that are on my TBR for Kindle Unlimited, and I'm starting with Fae Romantasy. The first one on my list is Avalon Tower. Fae fantasy but set in a modern world. So the main character, from what I understand, goes on holiday to south of France, and she gets wrapped up in a Fae spy situation, and her ex, basically she bumps into her ex and he is basically part of the Fae. This is all on the back of the blurb, so it's not a spoiler. She gets wrapped in a Fae spy situation, gets kidnapped by her ex and taken to this Fae spy academy where she has to train basically, and she learns that she's demi-Fae. That's all on the back of the book. Yeah, there's like an evil Fae king, missions, and a Fae academy, which we love. It takes place between London and France, so that's quite fun and interesting to me. There's 2 books in the series so far, and both from Kindle Unlimited. It's a King Arthur / Camelot retailer. Fae Romantasy, Enemies to Lovers, Fae Academy, Dangerous Missions are the tropes in this. So that's one book. Amid Cloud and Bones is another one that I've seen people talking about a lot lately. So that's a standalone that follows a princess determined to survive a marriage to a Fae prince. So it sounds like right up my street, basically. The Legacy series by Melissa K. Rorick. I think that's a completed series, and there's 4 books in there. I want to say 4 books. 4 books in that series. And basically that's again a dark romantic fantasy. I saw that the characters are very troubled but real, and like they're not always likable. They're flawed characters, but you can't help but root for them. So the Legacy are like deluxe Fae basically, and then the Fae are basically born to serve the Legacy. And I think, yeah, the Fae are forced into a life of servitude, and it's seen as a blessing to be seen as a personal source for one of the kingdom heirs. So the female main character, she's chosen as a personal source for the biggest and baddest Legacy. So she's chosen to be a slave, I think, for one of the biggest, baddest Legacy. She's a Fae, he's a Legacy, and I think it's, yeah, Enemies to Lovers, darker romance. I'm excited for that. And Kiss of Iron is a darker romantasy, and from what I understood, a noble woman is on the brink of ruin and she's going to like lose all her money, so she's offered a job to act as a spy, tasked with the role of spying on a really powerful and deadly Fae. The dark Fae that she's supposed to spy on is cunning, cruel, and there's romantic tension brewing between them apparently, so I can't wait to read that. And the tropes are morally grey hero, and it said perfect for fans of Guild and From Blood and Ash, which are both on my TBR. Lots of court politics, political intrigue, and like games like that. Sounds really interesting. I love political intrigue and court politics. And there's 3 books in that series so far. I don't know if it's a completed series. Dragonfall is another book that is on my TBR that has dragons, dragon shifters, dual POV, and I saw in a lot of the reviews that the author plays with the POV in a really fun way. And identities, tension, magic system. And there's a gender fluid main character. And from what I understood, it was only a short synopsis. Dragons had been banished from the mortal realms, but at the start of this book, something happens and it opens up a portal for the dragon. Sounds interesting. I love anything with dragons in, so I'm really excited for that one. Another one that I want to read is Fear the Flames. So a princess has a link to 5 dragons, but she's basically kept prisoner and kept away from her dragons. I don't know if it's by the king, her father, because he doesn't want her to be more powerful. So basically she is kept prisoner. She eventually escapes to a distant land. So she has to make a deal with a feared commander in an agreement that she will then go and fight for his kingdom once she has her dragons back. So yeah, classic romantasy. I'm guessing enemies to love. A City of Flames is another one that's on my Kindle Unlimited TBR, and basically the female main character wants revenge on dragons because they killed her father. And when a dragon attacks her village, she thinks it's the perfect time to get revenge. But she soon learns that the person that she thought was her enemy may not be her enemy, and the people that she trusts are actually out to kill her. So there's dragon shifters, magic system. That sounds really fun. 2 witchy romantasies or romantic fantasies, which I love a witchy romance, but I think obviously I prefer to read them in spooky season. So maybe just add this to your TBR for them. One of them is the Marionettes, a young witch. She's been waiting her whole life to join a coven of young witches, and she thinks that like her place is sealed basically and it's a done deal. But I think she has to go through like trials to be accepted to the coven of witches, and as she goes through some of the trials, lots of truths and secrets are kind of unfold basically, and she thinks that because she's one of the last pure witches left, like her space is guaranteed. But when she's at the school, she finds that she's being sabotaged and there's lots of rivalry and things like that. The other witchy book that I've got on my TBR is Bewitched. So this is set in a modern world, I think, and the main character, she again wants to join a coven of witches, and she has to like connect with her powers in order to be accepted to the coven. So she goes on a trip to South America, and when she's on the plane, a force like strikes the plane down, and she accidentally like releases her powers on the plane in order to protect herself. And she like crashes in the jungle, and when she's in the jungle, it sounds so funny explaining some of these books. Sometimes I just question my life choices and what I'm doing in my spare time. She like the Fae Academy, I'm like, really 25 years old, but I love it. Yeah, so she crashes in the jungle, and then she like awakens an ancient evil power, and he manifests as a person. I don't know if he's like a witch, but he mistakes the main character for his ex-wife who betrayed him. So she's like on the run from him as well. I don't know if it's like a doppelganger situation like Catherine Pierce and she looks exactly like the ex-wife or what, but he mistakes her for his ex-wife. And she uses her magic powers. She loses her memories bit by bit, and she can't control which memory she loses. It's not necessarily like her most recent memory. So like her magic comes at a great cost. So that sounds really interesting to me. Like the magic system sounds really cool. It's 2 books in that series, so it's Bewitched and Bespelled. Both are on Kindle Unlimited. The second book on my Kindle Unlimited TBR is The Mad King and the False Queen, and that's a story where a princess and an assassin swap places. So the princess's dad is murdered, and a different king, known as the Mad King, is suspected to have committed the crime. And after the dad is murdered, the Mad King proposes to the princess. So instead of the princess going to investigate, she swaps places with an assassin, and the assassin goes instead. So it's betrayal, castles, there's a ball scene, and enemies to lovers. So there's 2 books so far, and that's. I'm just going to fire some off now. Garden Ether, it's a dark, character-driven romantasy. It dives into sexuality, mental health, and relationships. So that sounds interesting. The Book of Azrael is another book that's on my Kindle Unlimited TBR, but I just need to be in the right headspace for it because it looks very thick. But from what I gather, it's about badass, morally grey female main character who doesn't care about being ruthless, basically. And apparently the plot is really interesting. I think I'm just going to go into that one blind, but because I think I've heard people describing it, but it's just like one of those ones that I think you just have to go into kind of blind. But I'll read out the tropes in Book of Azrael. So slow burn, FMC as a villain, epic world building, one bed, forced proximity, forbidden romance, action sequences that leave you wanting more, and a cliffhanger. And there are several books. I think there are 2 books so far, but it's going to be like a 5-book series or an 8-book series. So like that's a commitment. Another one is House of Beaten Wings, which is a romantasy about betrayal, lies, and deceit. So that sounds really interesting. City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. So I'm currently reading Crescent City, and basically City of Gods and Monsters, it's a 3-book series, and apparently it has the same vibes. So it's an urban fantasy, werewolves, vampires, witches, lots of different mythical creatures living in an urban city. And the female main character, there's an attempt to like kidnap her, but instead her friend accidentally gets taken instead. And she's just a human, so she can't understand why anyone would want to take her. And basically a ransom is left, and she gets told by the person that tried to kidnap her that it's either she can trade her life for her friends, basically. So it's a bodyguard romance. The male main character is apparently amazing. She has to team up with him, who's a demon hunter, to basically, I guess, get her friend back and solve the crimes. And more women are showing up missing and murdered, I think. So it's like very similar to the first Crescent City I heard, but like done in a different way. So I'm excited to read that. And like I said, Darian Castle, I think that's his name. Apparently he's like one of the top book boyfriends. I'm excited to meet him. That's a 3-book completed series. Metal Slinger is another one. I'm sure like you've all heard of it on TikTok and stuff, but from what I understand, Alaha people were exiled by the Kenta people, and every year it's like a rite of passage for the soldiers to go over to the Kenta markets, and our main female character gets selected with a group of friends to go to the Kenta markets. And when she gets there, something happens. I don't know what. Something happens, and the plan just blows up, basically, and the story unravels from there. And I've heard that the cliffhanger is crazy. So that's really high on my TBR. I think that's going to be my next read after I finish Crescent City. Another book on my Kindle Unlimited TBR is Riftborn. So this book is about, I think, magic users and magic have been banished, and the female main character, she has magic that she has to hide. And in an accidental display of her magic, the captain of the guard sees her display her magic, and she thinks then she's going to be executed. But he actually propositions her and says that there are threats at the border, and he's creating like a small army of like magic wielders. So she can either go to the military academy and train to help deal with the threats at the borders, or she'll be executed. So she reluctantly agrees to go to the military academy to train. And from what I've seen of the reviews, she meets a lot of people there. It's mentor mentee trope, which I love. Enemies to lovers, found family. The captain of the guard also like says that it will help her train her magic, basically, if she goes to the school. So mentor mentee trope, which I love. So yeah, that sounds really interesting. Spark of the Everflame is one that I really, really want to read soon. That is, I think there's 3 books so far. I know Fantasy Fangirls are covering it, so it's not a completed series yet, and I like need to read that soon because I want to watch Fantasy Fangirls cover that series. But Spark of the Everflame, it's again one with lots of court politics and political intrigue. So DM, she's a healer, and basically her mum goes missing, and her mum was also a healer. She was like the personal healer for the king. The king is dying, then her mum goes missing. So DM basically takes her mum's place in order to investigate her mum's murder, and starts to uncover a lot of secrets about court life. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I think romance is a very small subplot, but it's done really well. So I'm excited to read Spark of the Everflame. I love a healer main character. It's the Curse Saga. There's 4 books so far. Slow Burn, Enemies to Lovers, really cool magic system, dragons, and angst. To Bleed a Crystal Bloom is another one that's on my TBR. 3 books out so far, but I think it's going to be a 5-book series. This is a dark Rapunzel retelling, so it's a darker romantasy. Okay, so the ones that I just mentioned are more series. So now I'm going to go into standalone. Sword of Kaigan. I don't really know how to explain this one because it seems very complicated, but there's the Kaiganese empire, and it follows a mum, her son, and the dad. And basically, the son is training to be a warrior. He's only 14, and the mum used to be a warrior, but she hung her sword up to focus on motherhood and family life. And so it's basically exploring the family relationships, but also with the incoming war brewing. And I just heard that the family dynamics that are explored in this book are like really interesting, and looks at womanhood and motherhood, more high fantasy. So I'm really excited to read that. It's something different. Slaying the Vampire Conqueror is a standalone in the Mortal Monsters to Lovers. The female main character is commanded to infiltrate the Vampire Conqueror's army, earn his trust, and kill him. So I think enemies to lovers, basically. So Phantasma, I've already read that one, but basically the female main character, her mum dies at the start of the book, and then her sister goes missing, and Phantasma is kind of a games and trials thing that appears every so often, and it appears when her sister goes missing. So the female main character fears for her sister, has entered the competition of Phantasma. So the female main character joins in the hopes of finding her sister. She meets a phantom along the way, and it's games and trials. It's just a great fun time, a palette cleanser for sure, a standalone. Such a fun book. So the second book is on my TBR, which is Enchantra, and I don't think that comes out till April in the UK, but it follows the Ophelia from the first book. She's our main character. It follows Ophelia's sister Genevieve, and Genevieve is invited on holiday in Italy to a big mansion. She arrives there and the door slammed in her face by this family son. And so she sneaks in, and basically she then finds out her mistake. She's trapped inside. It's like a big game of hide and seek, basically. So this guy, his family are trapped, and only one of them can escape. So when Genevieve enters, she automatically gets stuck, and couples can group together. They are basically fake dating in order to couple up together and like improve their chances of winning. So it's basically a big game of hide and seek. So they loathe each other, but they also lust after each other. They find each other attractive. So I guess it's going to be enemies to lovers. I'm excited for that one. That's on my TV. So books I have read on Kindle Unlimited are Slaying the Shadow Prince, which is part of it's a standalone connected to Blood and Steel, the Legends of Fesmar series. So it gives a backstory to one of the characters that we meet later on in of Blood and Steel, and basically he becomes shadow touched, and he meets someone who hates the shadow touched, but they have to work together basically to find the female main character's missing friends and family. And because he's shadow touched, he can sense the people that they're looking for, basically. So enemies to lovers, that was just a fun time, like a palette cleanser. Zodiac Academy. Zodiac Academy, like this is in my god tier. Like I love these books so much. Basically it's about 2 twins. They're living in the mortal world, but at the start of the books they're told basically that they're fae princesses, and in order to claim their inheritance they need to go to the fae realm and graduate from and prove themselves at this ruthless academy. There are so many creatures: werewolves, fae, sirens, Pegasus, yeah. So many different mythical creatures, and basically there are heirs, 4 heirs that are set to be running the kingdom. But now that the Fae princesses are back, there's lots of competition, and basically the characters that you hate in book 1, you will love them throughout the rest of the series. I feel like emotional talking about it. If you read any book from this TBR that I've set you, please read Zodiac Academy. I know people say the writing's bad, but I don't even care. It's just so binge worthy, and like I know it's cringe, but I don't care. Like, I love Zodiac Academy so much. And yeah, there are dragon shifters. This is true enemies to lovers done perfect. Like, I don't think any enemies to lovers has come close. I don't even like spice scenes, but the best spice scene ever that I've ever read in this series. So please read it. Daughter of No Worlds. I've read that one, and the second book, so Children of Fallen Gods. This was a 3-star series for me. It was okay. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, but I think, yeah, obviously everyone likes different things. I would recommend it. So this is about Tisana. She's a slave. She basically buys her way out of freedom, and she wants to join the group called the Orders, who are a group of magic wielders. Basically, she frees herself from slavery, and then she goes to join the Orders, and she finds out that basically their intentions and agendas aren't quite what she thought, but she needs to stay with them basically because she wants to go back and free her friend that she left behind in slavery. And basically, yeah, she meets a reclusive warrior that has to train her. It's a slow burn romance. I really like the romance in it. I haven't finished this series. I've still got the last book, but yeah, the romance in it is like slow burn, and it's a subplot, but it's really good. And in the second book, there's a past and present timeline that just joins up really well, and that was like my favorite part of the book is the past and present timeline. I love the past timeline. So yeah, I would recommend that series. Okay, so those are all the books on my Kindle Unlimited TBR. I can do one in the future for like romance and thriller because I do occasionally read them, but I'm mainly a romantasy reader. 4 books that are on my Kindle Unlimited TBR. So I've noted how much they are. So one book is £2.50, which is Avalon Tower. One book, Mad King and the False Queen, is £3.13. Then Spark of the Everflame. So I've done 2 cheaper ones and then 2 more expensive ones on Kindle are Spark of the Everflame, which is £4.99, and A Kiss of Iron, which is £5.99. Now, I'm not going to do the math because I don't have a calculator and I can't do the mental maths, but I know that that's over £9.50, I think Kindle Unlimited is. So if you were, I read like 4 books a month. So if I was paying for those 4 books without Kindle Unlimited, it'd be, the cost would, for those buying those books would be cheaper with Kindle Unlimited, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Let me know if you have Kindle Unlimited and what books are on your TBR. And also, if you want me to do a TBR list of romance or thriller books on Kindle Unlimited, I'll have to explore that. But yeah, make sure to subscribe to my channel because hot girls like to read. And I've got lots of reading vlogs, recommendations, more TBRs coming soon. Don't forget to subscribe and join our Hot Girls Book Club.